This is a simple video just reviewing the formula for the process of photosynthesis. As I mentioned to you in class, this formula is going to be the foundation for everything that we're talking about this chapter. The faster that you memorize the formula and become comfortable with this, the easier the entire process is going to be. What we're going to be talking about this chapter are the technical aspects of how plants change carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight into, as it says over here, organic matter. This is an example of glucose, a simple sugar, and oxygen. And this is sort of like the guide to the entire chapter. Everything that we're going to be talking about will be filling in the details as to how this actual process works. I think the easiest way to remember this is if you just think about, well, what do plants need and then what do plants make? If you have a plant at home, it has to have water. If you don't water it, it'll die. It has to have sunlight. And then the other thing that you don't really see, but it certainly needs to have, is carbon dioxide. It's taking carbon dioxide out of the air through its leaves. What it's producing then is organic matter. That's how the plant grows. It keeps getting bigger because it's producing matter in the form of glucose, and some of those glucoses get strung together to form larger, more complex carbohydrates, which then build most of the plant. The other thing that they're doing is producing oxygen for us. So if you just think about, what plants need and then what plants make, it acts as a simple guide to this formula. You do have to know the balanced version of this. The whole reason for the little numbers in front of CO2 and H2O is to make sure that there are enough things on the left side of the formula to balance out the right side of the formula. For example, if you look at the amount of hydrogen that's needed, there's 12 hydrogens. Well, if you can imagine us only having one water molecule has 2 hydrogens, whereas glucose requires 12. So in order for this to work, in order for it to be balanced, we need 6 water molecules, because 6 times 2 gives us the 12 that we need in order to make that glucose molecule. So you do have to know the balanced version. 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O yields C6H12O6 and 6 O2, 6 oxygen. And then usually for sunlight, if you just draw it over the arrow or something like that, or just, you don't have to draw an actual sun, but if you just write in sunlight, there is no formula for light, so it's not something that you have to include. If you're sitting there wondering, gosh, when am I ever going to use this? Why do I have to memorize this silly formula? I'm trying to keep you from making bad life decisions. For example, if we take a look at this guy, he's trying to be all cool and get the formula for photosynthesis tattooed on his arm. Well, if you notice, he kind of makes a mistake. He's got 6 CO2, then 12 water molecules, plus light, and he's got 6 O2, which is our 6 oxygen, plus C6H12O6, so you got the glucose part right. He's got some extra water on this side, some extra water on that side. I'm not really sure what's going on with this guy, but he ended up kind of with a goofy formula for photosynthesis. So see, this way, if you ever decide to go out and get that awesome biology tattoo, I'm just trying to keep you on the straight and narrow so you get the right thing, so you end up like this person. And if you're going to get a tattoo, which I'm not sure I really condone that, but if you're going to do it, you might as well make it a biology tattoo. And if you're going to make it a biology tattoo, it better be right. It better be like this one. That is a perfect formula. 6 CO2, 6 H2O, and sunlight, C6H12O6, and 6 O2, those 6 oxygens. So not that I'm saying you should go out and get biology tattoos, but if you're going to go out and get a biology tattoo, at least get the right one. Get the right formula. So there you go. You're wondering how on earth this is practical? There it is. Usually I talk about the idea of plants, capturing energy from the sun, and that's the basis for all of the trophic structure, and that's ultimately where all your food comes from. So if there was no photosynthesis, there would be no cheeseburger at McDonald's. But, instead of that, I decided to go the tattoo route this year. So just in case you're thinking that this formula here is not practical, now you know that it is. It keeps you from getting a goofy tattoo like our friend down here. So on a serious note, this is the foundation for the chapter. The quicker you memorize this formula and become comfortable with it, the easier things will be for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in class.